first started collecting new things to buy and sell. Didn't really know what we were looking for at the time, or to find things that, just things that I'm actually interested in. I was buying things going, maybe this will sell, maybe this will sell. Then the problem was I'd go to list it and I didn't know how to describe it and all that kind of stuff. That led to, we've recently been going through some of our backlog, and back in June, I think it was, of last year, I have a whole spreadsheet full of like the stuff we bought and the prices that they were. So we've been going back and just making sure that all that stuff is listed. And one of the things that I bought a lot of was, I want to say someone online told me that like handheld like card games were really popular on eBay. For some reason it made sense when I heard this person say it. It was some YouTube reseller that I saw. So I got a bunch of these, and I think I listed them once and they never sold. Plus I think I started out on Facebook Marketplace and that was just the wrong place for it. Anyway, going through the spreadsheet, saw all of these things. I have like a whole shoebox full of them that I've never listed. So yesterday I just listed 2 of them. One of them being this poker game, the other one being a handheld Yahtzee game. They're from the 90s. And I mean, there's nothing special about them. They're not really, I guess they're retro. That's kind of fits in the theme of what we're doing. No.
You can play them on the toilet.
You can play them on the toilet, but you have your phone for that now. That's the thing. I posted 2 of these and I sold them right away on eBay. So I'm shipping these out. So I'm going to list the rest of these just so I can get rid of them. I'm not going to buy any more of them. Maybe I will. I don't know. I did see them a lot, but when I didn't sell these back in June of last year, I stopped getting them. So I had all this stuff, and now I don't know if it's that I know how to list better or what, but for some reason I just sold 2 of them like instantly. So I'm going to try a few more. Then another thing that I sold is, and I think I've done one of these before, but there's these old 1970s Sesame Street books. This one, the Book of Puzzlers. Look at that. It's like a Batman villain. And this one is just different drawings and concepts of shapes and then scenes from different episodes of Sesame Street at the time in the 70s. But it's just a learning book. It's pretty much just like a storyboard of one of the episodes. So that's going out today. Oh, there's a neat one. There's Bert being upside down. Did we relist that just recently?
Yeah.
Mary Joyce says that we just relisted that. I'm sitting at my computer here, and I wanted to mention this is something that I've done quite a few times, and it's kind of interesting because my background and what I do on the site is I will reach out to people and set up a time to talk with them or shoot a video with them or record a podcast or audio to talk to them about what they do on their site. But me, I've been, I get contacted a lot because of my band being an open source band, or me making open source things from open source software and tools. I've been in like Forbes magazine and a couple of different Linux blogs, just interviewed for a bunch of different things and been on different websites. And one of the methods that they do, and this isn't uncommon, it's something that I've had to do more than once. And it's fine. And I know this method, but it's kind of like they're asking you to write your article for you. Now, and what I mean by this isn't uncommon is there are a lot of sites, if you're reading an interview on a website and you see that there's a question and then the person responds, that's not them transcribing the conversation. And a lot of the time I used to think it was until I started getting these over the years. And what it really is they will send you a list of questions and you type out your answer to them and send it to them. And then they post it. It's kind of like getting homework, but it's about you. So it's fine because you're talking about yourself and you know the answers because these questions are about you. A blog by a person named Barbara Fisher. And she's contacting me because of the fact that I use open source software and we release albums using only Linux and free and open source software. So she sent me a bunch of questions. I wonder if should I just read what I wrote?
Sure.
How and when did you start making music? So I said, me personally, I started when I was in 4th grade. I had 2 friends that started taking guitar lessons, and we decided to start a band. I didn't play an instrument, so I said I would be the singer, and we played mostly cover songs. Now, around the time that I was 12 years old, I played trumpet in the high school or in the school band, and did that all the way through high school. I was in several bands over that period of time, but this is when I first started to learn how to read and write music, was in school band. I ended up playing drums in a punk rock band during my freshman year of high school. It was called Social Distortion, not Social Distortion, Social Interrogation, by the way. And then later on, we found out about the band Social Distortion. Okay, that part I just riffed, but that wasn't in the article. Anyway, started playing in a punk band when I was in high school. I think it was the first time I was in a band that wrote original songs. I believe so. After that, I went back to singing, and this time I started singing in a metal band I met through a friend. They lived in Wanakee, one of the neighboring towns. I was with them until I was about 20 years old. Now, during that time period, the drummer and I for that band shared a taste for unique recording and music styles, and kind of outgrew the metal scene that we were in. We actually started the concept for Lorenzo's music right after that band broke up. And that's actually Rob, the drummer that's in Lorenzo's music with me today. Now, the second question is, would you tell us a little bit about Lorenzo's music? And I said, the concept for the band has always been playing what you like, with the different music tastes and recording ideas that Rob and I had a lot of the time. We would write something and be told that's not what we play. And I always wondered why that was. That's kind of why the band started to break up. So really the band was just a concept of an idea to be open to any idea that we wanted to play. And also, I didn't put this in there because I kind of get sick of talking about it. But yes, I did take the name from Lorenzo Music. I came home one night after this and I saw the Bob Newhart show on Nick at Night, back when they used to play old TV shows. And I saw the credits and it said, created by Lorenzo Music, and I just thought to myself, well, that's a cool band name. So I did that. But later on, he had his lawyer contact us, so we added the apostrophe S to avoid legal issues. And then the next question is, how did you get interested in open source software, and how has that affected your music? Basically, it was the price. Even though I thought the price of recording and design software was ridiculous and I had no problem stealing it, after a while I started to feel bad about the pirated versions of the software that I would use. This being Photoshop or any recording software, or editing like Vegas Video by Sony and Illustrator, like all that stuff. I had pirated versions and I felt kind of bad about it. Around the mid-2000s, I was also learning to be a front-end web developer and learning about computers. So while I was studying these things, I heard about this new Linux-based operating system called Ubuntu that had all of this free audio and design software built right into it. And that's also where I learned about the concept of and value of open source and Creative Commons in music and technology, which is something that I'm very involved in to this day. So I tried it out. I dual booted my Windows machine with the Kubuntu KDE, which is the KDE version of Ubuntu. It was the Breezy Badger release that was out. And like I said, this was mid-2000s. I noticed over time that I was using the Ubuntu partition and programs more and more. When the next upgrade of the operating system came out, I decided to do a fresh install to reinstall it, and I accidentally wiped out my entire Windows partition on my computer. And I was like, hell with it. I'll just use this from now on. And I did. Basically, unless I had a job where they made me use Windows computers or a Macintosh, everything I used was on Linux. Later, I wanted the band to be able to track things themselves, but they were not Linux users, not at all. That's when I decided to use Ubuntu Studio, which is an operating system I discovered. I chose it because the guys could boot off of a live USB. They didn't have to install anything. It wouldn't change their system. And everything we needed was already installed, including recording software, effects, MIDI instruments, all of that stuff. So you plugged it in, you ran it, and all that stuff was there. Another question is, what are your favorite open source tools for musicians? So Ardour is the primary software that we use to track all of our recordings. It's a fantastic digital audio workspace. Also, for artwork and design. There is GIMP. Let's say GIMP is the photo manipulation software. It's kind of like a Photoshop alternative. And Inkscape, which is more of a vector-based artwork system. And that's kind of like Illustrator for creating designs. And then I use Kden Live for editing videos. And also the MP3 tagging software Kid3 for adding ID3 tags to all the song files that I make. And then she asked me who else I would want to have on the series, and one of the people that I suggest, because I don't know any other Linux musicians. I know people who use Linux, and I know musicians that do Creative Commons, but I don't know other people that use Linux for their primary recording source. Personally, I mean, I know there are other ones out there. So I suggested the guy who actually interviewed our band in Forbes magazine, Jason, who runs a show called Linux for Everyone that he started, which is all about just learning how to use Linux. He was a guy that actually was a Macintosh user for years and years. So anyway, and then I just sent off a bunch. So that's something, I get these a lot. That's actually, when I did the Forbes article, that was the same way that I did that one, which is ironic because now he does a podcast and a live video thing, and it would have been great to just talk to him on it. But I was perfectly fine with just answering his questions because he was writing it for Forbes. So there you go. That was something that happened today, and it happens quite often. And I always really like being asked to do these articles, so it's perfectly, it's cool.